I couldn't believe my eyes when I walked into the dining room that evening. Our anniversary dinner, a night meant to celebrate my marriage, our life together, was ruined the moment I saw her. Claire Whitman, my husband's ex, sitting there, smiling like she owned the place, as if my 10 years of love and commitment meant nothing. My heart pounded, my hands shook, and I could feel every eye in the room turning toward me. The anger, the betrayal, the humiliation, it all hit at once, sharp and unbearable. And the worst part? My husband, Ryan, didn't even flinch. He looked like nothing was wrong. That was the exact moment I decided. Enough is enough. I wouldn't let this go unnoticed. I wouldn't let her, or them, get away with it. What would you do if your husband's family invited his ex to your anniversary dinner? Could you stay calm? Or would you finally snap? Comment below and let me know how you'd handle this betrayal. Before that disastrous evening, my life with Ryan felt almost perfect. We met in college, bonded over our love for hiking and old jazz records, and built a life together in a cozy townhouse in Chicago. I worked as a graphic designer, enjoying the creative freedom my job offered, while Ryan thrived in his corporate career. Our weekends were filled with small adventures, brunches, museum visits, quiet nights cooking together. I truly believed we were a team untouchable. Ryan's family, the Whitakers, had always been complicated. His sister, Amanda, had a sharp tongue, and his mother, Lorraine, seemed to favor drama over kindness. I tolerated their quirks because I loved Ryan, and I thought our relationship could weather anything. But that illusion shattered when I learned about Claire. I discovered her existence completely by accident. A casual scroll through social media turned into a nightmare. Photos of Claire dining with Ryan's family, captions celebrating old memories and anniversaries I wasn't invited to. The shock alone was paralyzing. How long had this been going on? Why didn't Ryan tell me? Claire wasn't just an ex. She was a constant shadow, a reminder of some past that I wasn't a part of. And seeing her that night, smiling at my family and mine, made the betrayal so real I could taste it. I realized in that moment that I wasn't just hurt, I was furious, and I knew I couldn't let it stand. The days following that horrific anniversary dinner were a whirlwind of emotion. Every memory I had with Ryan now seemed tainted. The way he smiled at Claire in front of everyone, the way his family seemed to cater to her presence, it all replayed in my mind like a cruel loop. I tried to confront him subtly at first, asking small, pointed questions about why Claire had been invited. His responses were frustratingly vague, dismissive even, as if I was overreacting. At home, I felt like a stranger in my own life. Ryan, the man I had trusted with my heart, now seemed distant and unrecognizable. My anger simmered alongside my confusion, and late at night, I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all. How could the people who were supposed to support me make me feel so invisible? Humiliation cut the deepest when friends and coworkers asked about my anniversary, and I had to plaster a smile while pretending nothing had happened. Each time someone mentioned Claire's name, I felt my blood boil. But beneath the hurt and embarrassment, something else started to take shape, a quiet, determined fire. I realized that wallowing in pain wasn't going to fix anything. Every slight, every whispered comment, every smirk became fuel. I wasn't going to beg for respect or apologize for my feelings. I began planning, mentally cataloging every detail, the timing of events, the personalities involved, and the best way to ensure that Claire and Ryan's family understood the depth of their misstep. This wasn't just about retaliation. It was about reclaiming my dignity, asserting my worth, and finally letting them see that I wouldn't be sidelined or humiliated. With each passing day, the hurt slowly transformed into focus. I knew the moment for my revenge would come, and I wanted it to be unforgettable. I began dropping subtle hints, little things that no one could piece together yet. A knowing smile here, an offhand comment there, tiny sparks that suggested I wasn't as oblivious as they thought. At the grocery store, I overheard Claire bragging to Amanda about how easy it was to make the family smile her way. My lips pressed into a thin line, but inside, I was already plotting. I started documenting everything: dates, conversations, even social media posts. Every laugh at my expense, every glance that implied I was secondary, I stored in my mind like currency. I wasn't reckless. I wanted my revenge to be precise, to hit exactly where it would hurt the most. Even Ryan's family, who had unknowingly made me a target, began to see small changes in my demeanor. I carried myself differently now, calmer, more observant, almost untouchable. I wanted them to underestimate me, to continue thinking I was just the angry wife, while secretly preparing the moment when I would turn all their assumptions upside down. The plan was forming, quiet but relentless, and every day that passed brought me closer to the perfect opportunity to reclaim my power. The night of the neighborhood block party was the perfect stage, public enough to sting, private enough to control. I had spent weeks orchestrating small, believable coincidences that would line up just right. I smiled as if nothing was different, hugged neighbors, and greeted Ryan like a loving wife, all while the plan unfolded beneath the surface. My first move was simple. I'd arranged for a throwback slideshow to play on the community screen, photos submitted by various families for fun. I had quietly uploaded a few images that would speak louder than any confrontation. The slideshow began with harmless shots, kids with balloons, barbecues, then shifted. A photo appeared of Ryan laughing with Claire at a holiday dinner, taken last month, time-stamped, followed by a picture of Amanda and Claire whispering conspiratorially at my anniversary party. The hush that fell over the crowd tasted like vindication. Then I tapped into the audio I'd collected, a recorded conversation where Claire boasted about always finding her way back into Ryan's circle and Amanda laughing about how easy it was to make me feel sidelined. I pressed play. Their voices, clear and arrogant, echoed across the lawn. Faces paled. Ryan's eyes went wide, his jaw tightened. Lorraine reached for her chair as if to steady herself. Claire's smile disintegrated into a mask of panic. I didn't shout or dramatize. I let the evidence speak. The anger that had been coiled inside me unspooled into something steadier. Authority, not hysteria. Watching them scramble, offering weak denials that crumbled under the proof, I felt the humiliation they had inflicted on me return to its rightful owners. When Ryan finally muttered, "I never meant," it felt too small, a flimsy bandage on a wound he'd helped carve. I looked at him, at Claire, at Amanda and Lorraine, and for the first time since that dinner, I felt completely seen. The crowd's murmurs shifted from pity to outrage on my behalf. Justice, in the blunt, undeniable form of truth, had been served. My chest lightened, tears threatened, and then cleared away. I had made them face what they'd pretended wasn't there, and in doing so, I reclaimed myself. Sitting alone later that night, I replayed everything in my mind, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Revenge had never been about cruelty for its own sake. It had been about reclaiming my dignity, asserting my boundaries, and showing that I would not be invisible or disrespected. The satisfaction I felt wasn't in hurting Claire or humiliating Ryan's family, but in finally standing tall, letting them see the consequences of their disregard. I realized that allowing anger to fester without action only prolongs suffering. By carefully planning and executing my response, I regained control over a situation that had made me feel powerless. The moral was clear: strength isn't about silent endurance, it's about taking measured steps to ensure fairness and respect. This experience also taught me the importance of self-awareness and patience. Every small detail I had observed, every emotion I had felt, became a tool in turning a painful betrayal into a transformative lesson. I didn't just expose the truth, I learned about my own resilience. The lesson I wanted viewers to understand was universal. Betrayal and humiliation are not signs of weakness, but opportunities to recognize your worth. You can choose to crumble under the weight of someone else's disrespect, or you can rise and take back your narrative. For me, this ordeal became less about them and more about discovering the power I had always carried within me. I finally understood that revenge, when carefully channeled, doesn't just teach a lesson to the wrongdoers, it teaches one to yourself. And in that realization, I found peace, clarity, and strength I hadn't known I possessed. Life after that night felt surreal but freeing. The tension that had shadowed every interaction with Ryan's family lifted, replaced by a quiet confidence I hadn't known I could carry. I stopped worrying about approval or validation from those who had caused me pain and started focusing on the life I truly wanted. My friendships deepened as I confided in those I trusted, and I finally felt supported rather than scrutinized. Ryan's behavior changed too. He avoided excuses and defensiveness, realizing that my boundaries were not negotiable. It wasn't immediate, but slowly, the distance between us narrowed, not because of fear, but because mutual respect became unavoidable. Claire and Amanda, on the other hand, learned the hard way that their manipulations carried consequences. Their arrogance crumbled under the weight of accountability, and I watched from a place of calm empowerment rather than vengeful glee. I also embraced new opportunities. I joined a local art collective, threw myself into work projects, and even started planning small solo trips I'd always postponed. My confidence was contagious. People noticed the shift, and doors I hadn't dared open before began to swing wide. Most importantly, I realized I no longer needed external validation to feel worthy. I could celebrate my victories, laugh at small joys, and live life without fear of being overshadowed or undermined. The experience taught me that taking a stand doesn't just alter others' perception of you, it changes your perception of yourself. I was stronger, wiser, and more in tune with my own needs than ever before. Looking back, I realized revenge wasn't about hurting them, it was about reclaiming myself. I learned that standing up for your dignity can transform humiliation into empowerment. Sometimes, the greatest victories aren't loud or violent. They're measured, deliberate, and deeply personal. To anyone watching this story, remember, you have the power to define your own worth. Don't let betrayal or disrespect dictate how you feel about yourself. Have you ever had to face someone who tried to undermine you? How did you handle it? Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life journeys of resilience and empowerment.